Hello students, today we are going to start with one of the most important chapter of your syllabus, acids, bases and salts. Now when we are talking about these three terms, acids, bases and salts, it must be very familiar to you all, these three terms, because we keep on hearing them not only in our studies, whereas also on the in our regular life also we keep on hearing about acids, bases and salts. Mostly the word salts we have studied heard about. Now before starting with this chapter, we should actually be knowing scientifically that what are actually these acids, bases and salts. So in your previous standard 8th, you all have studied about metals and non-metals, and there in standard 8th only we all studied that metals are actually those elements which have either 1, 2 or 3 electrons in the valence shell, and non-metals are actually those elements which are having either 5, 6 or 7 electrons in the valence or the last shell, which are also known as the valence electrons. So what happens in order to form a compound, on one side one metal comes and on the other side the non-metal comes. And in order to complete the octet rule, the metal transfers gives its valence electrons, which are taken up by the non-metals. And this way a bond is formed in between them, which is known as the ionic bond, and the compound which is formed as a result of the formation of this ionic bond is known as the ionic compound. So at least we are understanding what are ionic compounds. So let's revise once again what are ionic compounds. Ionic compounds are the compounds which are formed by the complete transfer of electrons from a metal or a metallic radical and a non-metal or a non-metallic radical. This way the metal giving electrons and non-metals taking electrons, forming ionic bond and an ionic compound. So every time in an ionic compound, one positively charged metallic ion will be present and one negatively charged non-metallic ion will be present. The positively charged ion of metal will be known as cation, and the negatively charged ion of the non-metal will be known as anion. So this way as a whole we all can say that an ionic compound is always having a cation and an anion. Now what we should be learning is the fact that actually all the acids, all the bases and all the salts are actually ionic compounds. So if I am giving you a statement that all the acids are ionic compounds, so obviously it means all the acids will be having a positively charged cation and a negatively charged anion. Now we are also saying that bases also these ionic compounds. So obviously all the bases will also be having positively charged metallic cation and a negatively charged non-metallic anion. Same way for the salts. One cation will be present and one anion will be present. So the question arises now how to designate that which ionic compound is an acid, which ionic compound is a base and which ionic compound is a salt. So let's see which are acids. The ionic compounds which are always having hydrogen as the cation will be an acid. Let's see it for bases. Those ionic compounds which are having hydroxyl ions as the anions will be the bases. And the rest of all the ionic compounds which are having the cation, any other ion other than hydrogen ion as the cation, and any other ion other than hydroxyl ion as the anion are the salts. So I hope so you all have at least understood a bit of this scientific touch to this acid, bases and salts. And just after this the videos which we will be seeing based upon these acids, bases and salts will be very easy and clear to you all. Hope so you all will be understanding as well as interesting also for you all to see. So just try to link this concept with those videos. Okay students, here we can see that we have taken two flasks, one with lemon juice and one with soap water. The main difference between the two is by the physical properties, that is by the color and appearance. But apart from this, there are many other differences between the lemon juice and the soap water. The main difference between them is the taste. The taste of lemon juice is sour, whereas the taste of soap water is bitter. Now when we are talking about the taste is one of the chemical properties. So this is by the chemical property that is which is coming as a difference between the lemon juice and the soap water. And do we know why is it so? It is because the lemon juice is an acid and the soap water is a base. So now we are coming to the main concept of an acid and a base, giving one example each. The acid, the lemon juice, we are having a sour taste. Whenever the word acid comes to our mind, we only think of the burning effect, because we have always heard that acids always produce a burning effect. That's the reason we never want to go near an acid or come in contact or come in touch with an acid. Now when we are talking about the word acid actually comes from the Latin word acidus, which actually means sour in taste. So on this basis, the intensity of sourness varies in different acids. Some of the acids can have mild sour taste, whereas the other acids can have a very intense sour taste. The main examples are the citrus fruits like lemon and orange. All these fruits have acidic. The next example is the soap water. This is a base which is also known as an alkali. So in other words, we can say that all the compounds which are mild and bitter in taste are the bases. If we add water to a base, it always forms a soapy water, which is when we are touching it, it always feels soapy. The main examples are baking soda, washing soda and quicklime. So here we have an acid and a base. Now think of a process. We have taken a beaker in which we are adding an acid or a base. What will happen if an acid and a base are added together? Whenever, for example, we have taken hydrochloric acid as an acid and sodium hydroxide as a base, let's see what happens. The hydrochloric acid, when reacts with sodium hydroxide, it forms sodium chloride and water. Sodium chloride is a salt, so acid plus base gives us salt and water. Salt is the main product when an acid reacts with a base. Sodium chloride is a common salt. Always remember, they are common salt that we are using at home. Now we have taken concentrated sulfuric acid and we have to check that whether it is an acid or not. So obviously we cannot drop it on our skin in order to check it. That is not the test for an acid. So what else is a test for an acid? In order to test acid, we have substances which can tell us whether a compound is an acidic or a base. These compounds are known as indicators. Whenever an indicator is added to an acid or a base, they always bring about a change in color. So, indicators like litmus paper and phenolphthalein, they can check whether a given compound is an acidic or base. Okay, here we all can see acids, bases and salts. So let's revise a bit about these once again. The acid. The word acid comes from Latin word acidus, which means sour in taste. Lemons, citrus fruits are examples of the substances which have acids in them. All the acids always turn blue litmus paper red in color. Acids are mainly of two types, natural acids and mineral acids. The natural acids are those acids which are present in natural fruits, for example citrus fruits. They are also known as organic acids. The citrus fruits like lemons, oranges, all those contain natural acid. Actually we should be knowing that citrus fruits contain citric acid. Citric acid is a natural acid, organic acid. Now mineral acids are also known as inorganic acids. Nitric acid is an example. Bases. Bases are opposite to acids. They have bitter taste and they always turn red litmus to blue. Sodium carbonate, that is washing soda, and lime, that is calcium oxide, examples of base. Salt, one of the most common example. Now let's see for acids and bases. We have to study about the chemical properties, how do they react with metals and with each other. This is a universal indicator. It gives specific color change that we have taken with different acids and a base. In one of the test tube, we take 2 milliliter of the base and add phenolphthalein solution to it. And what difference do we find? A color change. The colorless base turns pink in color. It means it is indicated that it is a base. Phenolphthalein solution is always colorless in acid and gives pink color in base. Now let's see, if in case we add acid to this solution, what happens? When we are adding acid to this solution, then solution is becoming colorless again. It means the acid and the base, they are reacting with each other to neutralize each other. This is what we have studied earlier also. The base in this case has been neutralized by an acid. Now we have to check whether an acid is also neutralized by a base. So let's add acid and base. Again, yes, again the pink color is reappearing. It means to the colorless solution, if we are adding base, then again the pink color reappears. This is the reaction which is actually going on. The sodium hydroxide base is reacting with hydrochloric acid to give sodium chloride. There is a common salt and water. This reaction is known as a neutralization reaction. In general terms, neutralization reaction is base plus acid giving salt and water. One more example has been given in which again we are reacting hydrochloric acid with calcium hydroxide base. Let's see a natural example of a neutralization reaction which occurs in a digestive system. We all know that an acidic medium is produced in our stomach for digestion. That is by the presence of hydrochloric acid. In case if hydrochloric acid is present in excess amount, then acidity is felt. So we always take antacids. Can we guess what are antacids here? The antacids here are nothing else. They are bases which are neutralizing the acids. That is the hydrochloric acid in our stomach. Okay, here we will now understand the meaning of the word dilution and concentration. These two terms are relative to each other, means related to each other. We take two beakers, the first one and the second one. In both the beakers, we take 100 milliliter of solvent, and then in the first one we add 20 milliliter of solute, while in the second one we are adding 50 milliliter of the solute. What difference do we find? That the first is becoming pink in color, whereas the second is becoming red in color. It means that the first one is mild, the second one is not a strong one. So the first one is known as diluted and the second one is known as concentrated. These are relative terms to each other. Now again we are taking two beakers and this time we are taking 100 milliliter of solution in each of them. In the first one, the solution is having 20 milliliter of solute and 80 milliliter of solvent. In the second one, 25 milliliter of solute and 75 milliliter of solvent. So, in which of the beaker is the solute more? In the second beaker. So, which one will be more concentrated? the second solution. So what do we understand? That whichever solution has more solute present is concentrated. So we understand the meaning of the terms. Now we have to need to understand dilute and concentrated acids and bases. The acids, water is always the solvent and acid is the solute. Let's see, here in the beaker, water is acting as the solvent and we are adding acid as the solute. Obviously, heat is produced because it is an exothermic reaction. In case if we add water to acid, then we have to think whether it is possible or not. In both the cases, exothermic reaction, that is heat, will be produced. In case if we are adding water to acid, then the exothermic reaction occurs and such a lot of heat is produced that the flask can also break and we might also burn. Whereas, if we are taking water as the solvent and adding acid to it, then also it is an exothermic reaction. But in case of this exothermic reaction, whatever heat is produced is absorbed by water because water is a very good absorber. So we should always take water and add acid to it. We should never take acid and add water to it. Okay students, here we are taking acid, base and salt. Okay. And we have to study about the pH value. The pH value of acid is less than 7, of salt it is equal to 7 and of base it is more than 7. Now we have to find out what does pH mean. If a solution is given to us and we have to find out whether it's an acid or base, we have indicators. This is universal indicator. With the help of a universal indicator, we can find it out. We can also find out if that which acid is a stronger one and which one is a weaker one with the help of the universal indicator. So that is nothing else. It is actually the pH scale. The pH actually tells us the concentration of H ions present in a solution. It is the measure of the strength of the acid or the base. For example, if we are taking an acid, we know that H ions are present in it. So the measure of the H ions present in it will give us the pH value. For the base also, we know although OH ions are present in it, but along with the OH ions, the H ions are also present in it, in a base also. That we should be knowing. So, it is the concentration of the H ions which are present in a base gives us the pH of the base. The pH scale ranges from 0 to 14. We know that from 0 to 6, if the pH value is from 0 to 6, the solution will be acidic. If the pH value is 7, the solution will be neutral. If the pH value is from 8 to 14, the solution will be basic in nature. Always remember, more the H ions, less is the pH value. Again, more the H ions, less is the pH value. So, hence we know that the pH value, if it is 0 to 6, then it is acidic. pH value, if it is 8 to 14, then it's a base. More the H ions, less the pH value. Hence, less the pH value, more acidic the solution will be. Again see, less the H ions, more the pH value. That is why when the pH value is more, from 8 to 14, the solution will be more basic. Obviously, we know in a base. Now here we are taking two solutions, solution A and B. The pH value of the first solution is 2 and the pH value of the second solution is 4. So obviously we know that both are acids, but which one will be more acidic? Remember, less pH value, more acidic. More pH value, less acidic. We take another solution C and solution D. The pH of solution C is 5, pH of solution D is 10. Which one will be more basic, they are asking. In the first case, pH is 5, less than 7, so it is acidic. In the second case, pH is 10, more than 7, so it is base. So obviously solution D is more basic. Again we have universal indicator. So